Emotional intelligence is the key to both personal and professional success. Daniel Goleman. Have you ever wondered why some people seem to connect with others effortlessly, while others struggle to get their point across? Why do certain leaders inspire loyalty and passion, while others fail to engage? The answer lies in emotional intelligence. In this video, we're diving deep into the power of self-awareness, empathy, and social skills. These are the core components of emotional intelligence, the very qualities that can transform how you communicate, collaborate, and lead. It's not just about knowing your emotions or understanding others' feelings. It's about using that understanding to build stronger relationships, make better decisions, and lead with confidence. Whether you're aiming to be a more effective communicator, a compassionate leader, or simply looking to improve how you interact with the world around you, emotional intelligence holds the power to change the game. Stay with me, and you'll discover actual strategies that will unlock your potential, enhance your connections, and help you achieve success in ways you never thought possible. It's time to step into your power, emotionally, socially, and professionally. It's amazing how much of our success is tied to how well we communicate with ourselves and with others. There's a simple truth here. Your emotions are the foundation of everything you do. They guide your decisions, they shape your relationships, and they impact how you move through life. If you want to be successful, whether it's in your career, your relationships, or your personal growth, you need to start by understanding your emotional patterns. When you really get to know how your emotions work, you're putting yourself in a position to take control of your life. Now, that doesn't mean you should try to shut down your feelings or push them aside. No, it's about becoming aware of them, understanding them, and using them as tools to move forward. It's about learning how to transform your emotions to work for you rather than letting them dictate your actions. So, let's talk about what happens when you ignore your emotions. If you're not paying attention to how you feel, it's easy to let those emotions take the wheel. You might find yourself acting on impulse, saying things you don't mean, or reacting in ways you later regret. You're responding to life instead of taking charge. You don't want to live life as a passenger. You want to be the driver. You want to steer your actions in the direction that aligns with your values, your goals, and your vision for the future. The first step in that process is understanding your emotional patterns. What triggers you? What sets you off? What makes you feel confident? And what makes you feel uncertain? These are the questions you need to start asking yourself. You might not have the answers right away, but don't let that discourage you. This is a journey, and self-awareness is the first step. Look, we all have emotional patterns. It's human nature. Maybe you get frustrated when things don't go according to plan. Maybe you shut down when faced with criticism. Maybe you feel overwhelmed when there's too much on your plate. These emotional responses have been with you for a long time, and they've shaped how you react to situations. But just because you've had a pattern for years doesn't mean you're stuck with it forever. You can change it. You can break free. Start by observing yourself. Pay attention to how you feel in different situations. Notice when you get tense, when you get frustrated, or when you feel discouraged. These emotions are signals. They're telling you something about how you're reacting to life. But here's the key. You don't have to let them control you. You can respond in a way that's thoughtful, deliberate, and aligned with your goals. One of the best ways to break free from negative emotional patterns is by practicing emotional regulation. This means you don't let your emotions run wild. Instead, you learn how to manage them so they don't hijack your behavior. It's not about suppressing your emotions. It's about choosing how to respond to them. When you feel that anger bubbling up, take a step back, breathe, pause, ask yourself, is this reaction going to help me or hurt me? That simple act of pausing gives you the space to choose a different response. It gives you the power to transform a negative emotion into something productive. This is where emotional intelligence comes in. It's not just about knowing what you're feeling. It's about knowing how to manage those feelings and use them to your advantage. You can't be effective in your communication, collaboration, or leadership if you're constantly reacting to your emotions without thinking. People notice when you're controlled by your emotions, and it doesn't inspire confidence. But when you manage your emotions and choose your responses, it builds trust. People are drawn to you because they see that you're in control and that you think before you act. They see you as someone who can handle pressure and keep a cool head. Now, I'm not saying this is easy. It takes practice, and it takes a willingness to face yourself honestly. It means being real about your emotional patterns and not sweeping them under the rug. But let me tell you something, it is worth it, because once you learn to manage your emotions, you unlock a whole new level of success. You stop being at the mercy of your moods. You stop being reactive, and you start being proactive. You take control of your emotional state, and that makes all the difference. Let's talk about some strategies that can help you change those emotional patterns. The first one is self-reflection. At the end of each day, take a few minutes to reflect on how you felt throughout the day. What triggered you? How did you respond? Were there moments where you reacted in a way that didn't align with your values? This simple habit can help you gain a deeper understanding of your emotional responses and give you insight into areas you need to work on. Another powerful strategy is mindfulness. Mindfulness is all about being present in the moment without judgment. It's about observing your thoughts and feelings without getting caught up in them. When you practice mindfulness, you start to notice your emotional patterns before they take over. You can catch yourself in the middle of an emotional reaction and choose a different path. It's like creating a buffer between stimulus and response. That space gives you the freedom to choose how you want to react, and that's incredibly empowering. And here's another important strategy. Take responsibility for your emotions. Too often, we blame others for how we feel. She made me angry. He stressed me out. They made me feel bad about myself. But the truth is, no one can make you feel anything. Your emotions are your responsibility. When you take ownership of them, you stop giving away your power. You stop blaming external circumstances for how you feel, and you start realizing that you have control. You get to decide how you respond to people, situations, and events. So what does this all lead to? It leads to a life where you're in charge. It leads to a life where you're not a victim of your emotions, but a master of them. And when you master your emotions, you unlock the potential to create the life you want. You become a better communicator because you're in control of how you express yourself. You become a better leader because you know how to manage your emotions and inspire others. You become a better person because you're aligned with your values and your goals. The key takeaway here is this. Your emotions are powerful, but they don't have to control you. You can transform them. You can use them to create success, build stronger relationships, and become the person you've always wanted to be. The only question is, are you ready to take that first step? Are you ready to discover your emotional patterns, understand them, and transform them for success? The choice is yours. It always has been. Life is full of challenges. It's a constant stream of obstacles, surprises, and moments that test your limits. It's easy to get overwhelmed, to feel like you're stuck or that you can't possibly handle everything that's coming at you. But here's the thing. Those challenges are not here to break you. They're here to build you. They're here to make you stronger, wiser, and more resilient. The key is learning how to face those challenges with confidence and turn them into opportunities for growth. When you do that, you're not just surviving, you're thriving. Confidence doesn't come from avoiding challenges. It doesn't come from taking the easy road. It comes from stepping into the unknown, embracing uncertainty, and trusting that you have what it takes to handle whatever comes your way. Confidence is built through action. It's built through taking the first step, even when you're scared. It's built through sticking with something when it feels like it's too hard. And most importantly, it's built by showing up every day, ready to face whatever life throws at you. One of the most important things to understand is that confidence doesn't come overnight. It's not something you just wake up with one day. It's a muscle that you have to develop over time. And just like any muscle, it gets stronger the more you use it. So, the next time you face a challenge, don't back down. Don't shy away from it. Lean into it. The more you push yourself, the more confident you'll become. Think about the last time you faced something difficult. Maybe it was a tough conversation, a new project at work, or a personal struggle. How did you approach it? Did you shy away from it, hoping it would go away? Or did you dive in knowing that the only way out was through? When you face challenges with courage and confidence, you're setting yourself up for growth. You're saying, I'm capable. I can do this. It's easy to look at challenges as obstacles, but I want you to shift your perspective. Instead of seeing them as roadblocks, see them as stepping stones. Every challenge you face is an opportunity to become better. Every struggle is a chance to build your resilience. You might not see it in the moment, but each challenge is shaping you into a stronger version of yourself. So, the next time life throws something tough your way, take a deep breath, remind yourself of your strength, and face it head on. You've got this. Now, let's talk about the idea of growth. Growth doesn't happen in your comfort zone. It doesn't happen when everything is easy and smooth. Growth happens when you're pushed. Growth happens when you stretch yourself beyond what you thought was possible. And that's where the real magic happens. You grow stronger every day by challenging yourself, by putting yourself in situations that force you to rise up and become more than you were yesterday. This is a key to success, consistent growth. It's not about having one big breakthrough. It's about making small progress every day. Every time you face a challenge, you have the chance to grow. You may not see immediate results, and that's okay. The important thing is that you're taking action. You're moving forward, even when it's hard. And over time, those small steps add up to something big. One of the biggest reasons people struggle to face challenges is fear. Fear of failure, fear of rejection, fear of the unknown. It's completely natural to feel afraid when you're up against something new or difficult. But let me tell you, fear is not your enemy. Fear is a signal. It's telling you that you're stepping outside your comfort zone, and that's exactly where growth happens. When you feel fear, don't retreat. Don't back away. Lean into it. Use that fear as fuel to keep going. You'll find that the more you face your fears, the less power they have over you. Confidence comes from action. It's about doing, not just thinking. You can read all the self-help books in the world, but if you're not taking action, you won't grow. It's easy to stay stuck in the planning phase, thinking that you need more information or that you need to feel ready before you take the plunge. But let me tell you something. There will never be a perfect time. There will never be a moment where everything aligns perfectly and you're 100% ready. The secret is to start anyway. Take that first step. And if you fall, get back up. Keep moving forward. When you face challenges with confidence, you begin to develop a mindset of resilience. Resilience is the ability to bounce back after setbacks, to keep going even when things don't go your way. Resilience is what separates those who succeed from those who give up. Life is full of setbacks. You will face disappointments. You will encounter failures. But how you respond to those setbacks is what defines you. Will you let them break you, or will you let them build you? Resilience is about learning from your mistakes, adjusting, and trying again. It's about getting up after each fall and knowing that the next attempt will be better than the last. I want to remind you that challenges are part of the journey. They are not the end of the road. They are the road. The people who succeed in life are the ones who face difficulties head-on, who keep going even when things get tough, who view every challenge as a chance to grow. If you're constantly waiting for the perfect moment or for everything to be easy, you'll never move forward. Success comes when you step into discomfort, when you decide that no matter what happens, you're going to give it your best shot. When you face life's challenges with confidence, you're not just growing in the moment. You're building habits that will serve you for the rest of your life. You're teaching yourself that you can handle anything that comes your way. You're developing a mindset that says, I'm capable. I can do this. And that mindset will carry you through every challenge, every setback, and every obstacle you face. So, the next time you encounter a challenge, don't run from it. Don't shy away. Look it straight in the eye and say, I'm ready for this. Know that this challenge is an opportunity for you to grow stronger, smarter, and more resilient. And every time you face a challenge with confidence, you're not just overcoming that one obstacle. You're building the confidence and resilience that will help you tackle anything life throws your way. Remember, growth happens when you step outside your comfort zone. It happens when you face your fears, take action, and keep moving forward. So, take that first step today. Embrace life's challenges with confidence and watch yourself grow stronger every day. You have everything you need to succeed. Now go out there and prove it to yourself. Life has a way of testing us when we least expect it. One moment, everything's calm, and then the next, you're thrust into a high-pressure situation. Maybe it's a tight deadline, a tough conversation, or a moment where you need to perform under the watchful eyes of others. These are the moments that can either make or break us. But here's the secret. How you handle pressure is entirely in your hands. The ability to stay calm and collected when everything feels like it's falling apart is not just a skill, it's a game changer. And mastering that skill can elevate every area of your life. The first thing to realize is that pressure is a part of life. It's not going anywhere. It's something we all face, no matter who we are or what we do. But that's the beauty of it. Pressure doesn't define you. How you respond to it does. Think about the most successful people you know. What do they have in common? Yes, they have talent. Yes, they have drive. But they also have one thing that truly sets them apart. They know how to stay calm under pressure. When everyone else is losing their head, they keep their cool. And this ability to remain composed is often the difference between success and failure. Let me tell you something. Being calm under pressure isn't about being unemotional. It's not about shutting off your feelings or pretending like everything's okay when it's not. No, it's about finding the strength to manage those emotions in the heat of the moment. It's about not letting fear, frustration, or anxiety take over and cloud your judgment. When you're calm, you think clearly. You're able to analyze the situation without being overwhelmed by your feelings. And when you're clear-headed, you're much more likely to make decisions that will get you closer to your goals. So how do you do it? How do you master the art of staying calm under pressure? It starts with awareness. The first step is recognizing when you're under pressure and acknowledging the emotions that come with it. You don't have to pretend that you're not feeling stressed, anxious, or nervous. Those feelings are normal. What matters is how you respond to them. When you feel those emotions start to rise, instead of panicking or reacting impulsively, take a step back, pause, give yourself a moment to breathe, and gather your thoughts. This is where the magic happens. The next step is to practice deep breathing. When you're stressed, your body naturally tenses up and your mind races. This makes it harder to think clearly and make decisions. But by focusing on your breath, you activate the parasympathetic nervous system, which helps calm your body and mind. Just a few deep breaths, slow, deliberate, and deep, can help you reset. It's amazing how something as simple as breathing can ground you when everything around you is spinning. Another key strategy is reframing the situation. When you're under pressure, your mind tends to focus on all the potential negative outcomes. You start thinking about what could go wrong, and that can create a sense of panic. But what if, instead of thinking about all the things that could go wrong, you focus on what could go right? What if you saw pressure as an opportunity instead of threat? When you shift your mindset, you shift your entire experience. Suddenly, the pressure you're feeling becomes fuel to push forward, not something that holds you back. It's also incredibly important to trust yourself in these moments. When you're under pressure, self-doubt can creep in. You start to question your abilities and wonder if you're good enough. But here's the truth. You are good enough. You have everything you need within you to handle whatever comes your way. You've been through tough situations before, and you've come out the other side stronger. The same strength you've used to overcome past challenges is still there. Trust it. Trust that you have the skills, the knowledge, and the resilience to handle the pressure you're facing. Confidence in yourself is your greatest asset when you're under pressure. Another essential part of staying calm under pressure is preparation. While we can't predict every challenge that will come our way, we can certainly prepare ourselves mentally and emotionally for the ones we know are coming. If you have a big presentation coming up, a difficult conversation, or an important project, don't wait until the day to get ready. Take the time to prepare ahead of time. Visualize the situation in your mind. Think through the possible challenges that might come up and how you would respond. The more prepared you are, the more confident you'll feel when the pressure is on. Along with preparation, practice is key. The more you practice staying calm under pressure, the easier it becomes. And the best part is, you don't have to wait for a high-stakes situation to start practicing. Start with the smaller, everyday moments. Practice staying calm when you're stuck in traffic, when someone cuts in front of you in line, or when things don't go according to plan. These are all opportunities to practice. The more you train your mind to stay calm in these situations, the more naturally it will come when the stakes are higher. Let's not forget the importance of focus. Under pressure, it's easy to get distracted. Your mind starts racing in a million different directions, and it can feel like you're losing control. But the key to staying calm is to stay focused on what's in front of you. Block out the noise. Focus on the task at hand. Whether it's solving a problem, making a decision, or communicating with someone, keep your attention on the present moment. When you focus on what's right in front of you, you're able to block out the chaos around you and act with intention. And finally, remember this. Staying calm under pressure isn't about perfection. It's about progress. It's about getting better every day. There will be times when you feel overwhelmed, and that's okay. The goal is not to never feel pressure, but to be able to handle it with grace and composure. Every time you face a stressful situation and remain calm, you're building that muscle of resilience. And over time, it will become second nature. So, when you find yourself in a high-pressure situation, remember to breathe, trust yourself, stay focused, and reframe the situation. Recognize that pressure is not something that has control over you. You are in control. You have the strength, the clarity, and the tools to navigate through it. It's all about keeping a cool head and making thoughtful, intentional decisions in the moment. The more you practice these techniques, the easier it will be to remain calm under pressure, no matter what life throws your way. Pressure will never go away, but you can absolutely master how you respond to it. Stay calm, stay collected, and keep moving forward, because in those moments of pressure, you have the power to create your success, to truly connect with others, to understand them on a deeper level, and to make them feel heard. We must first practice empathy. Empathy isn't just about feeling sorry for someone or offering words of comfort. It's about putting yourself in another person's shoes, seeing the world through their eyes, and genuinely understanding their experiences, emotions, and struggles. It's a skill that, when developed, has the power to transform relationships, improve communication, and strengthen our connections with those around us. In a world that is increasingly fast-paced and individualistic, empathy is a rare and powerful quality. We are often so caught up in our own lives, thoughts, and problems that it can be easy to forget that everyone else has their own battles. It's easy to get trapped in our own perceptions and assumptions about people, but true empathy requires us to step outside of ourselves and into someone else's reality. The first step to practicing empathy is listening, not just hearing the words that someone is saying, but truly listening with the intent to understand. In today's world, we've lost the art of real listening. We're distracted by our phones, our thoughts, and our own agendas. But when we listen with our full attention, we open ourselves up to understanding the other person's feelings, fears, and desires. And this doesn't mean waiting for your turn to speak. It means being fully present in the moment, absorbing every word, every pause, and every emotion behind the words. When you listen deeply, you're able to sense the unspoken words. A person might say, "I'm fine," but their body language, tone of voice, or the way their eyes flicker might tell you otherwise. These subtle cues give you insight into what they're really feeling. To connect with someone, you need to learn to listen to more than just their words. You need to listen to their heart, to the emotion that lies beneath the surface. Empathy also means suspending judgment. Often, we approach others with preconceived notions or opinions. We think we know what they're going through or why they feel the way they do, and sometimes we're quick to offer solutions or advice before we truly understand the situation. But real empathy requires us to let go of those judgments and allow the other person to express themselves without interruption. It's important to remember that everyone's experience is unique, and their emotions are valid regardless of whether we fully understand them. Sometimes, people don't need our solutions or advice. They need our understanding. They need us to listen without judgment and without trying to fix things. When we connect with others through empathy, we give them the space to express their pain, joy, fear, or excitement, and in return, we show them that they are not alone. Think about a time when you've been going through something difficult. How did it feel when someone truly listened, when they really heard you, and when they didn't try to fix things but simply understood? That feeling of being truly seen and heard is powerful, and it's something we can offer to others when we practice deep empathy. But empathy doesn't just stop at listening. It also requires us to engage emotionally. To truly connect with someone's experience, we have to allow ourselves to feel what they're feeling, even if we're not experiencing it ourselves. This doesn't mean taking on their emotions as your own or losing yourself in their struggles. It simply means allow yourself to be moved by their experience, to acknowledge the weight of what they're going through, and to offer support from a place of genuine understanding. It's also important to recognize that empathy is not about fixing problems. In fact, one of the biggest mistakes we make when we try to empathize with someone is immediately jumping into problem-solving mode. We think that offering advice or solutions is the best way to help, but often what people need most is not a solution. It's to be heard, to be understood, and to be supported. Empathy is about showing up for someone in their pain or joy, not about rushing to make everything better. By simply sitting with them in their experience, you are providing something incredibly valuable: presence. When we practice deep empathy, we create an environment where vulnerability is not only accepted but encouraged. People feel safe to open up and share their true selves. This leads to stronger relationships, better communication, and more meaningful connections. And when we feel understood and supported by others, we're more likely to reciprocate that empathy and create a cycle of kindness, trust, and mutual respect. In the workplace, practicing empathy can completely transform the dynamics of a team. Leaders who demonstrate empathy are more effective because they understand the needs, concerns, and motivations of their team members. They can offer guidance, support, and encouragement in ways that resonate with each individual. Instead of treating everyone the same, they acknowledge that each person has unique experiences and perspectives. And in doing so, they foster a culture of inclusivity and trust. When team members feel understood and valued, they're more engaged, more motivated, and more likely to collaborate effectively. Empathy is also essential in times of conflict. When disagreements arise, it's easy to get caught up in our own point of view and to dismiss the other person's feelings. But the key to resolving conflict is empathy. By truly trying to understand the other person's perspective, we can find common ground and work toward a solution that respects both parties' needs. Conflict resolution isn't about winning. It's about understanding, compromise, and finding a way to move forward together. And let's not forget about self-empathy. It's easy to be compassionate toward others, but it's just as important to extend that same empathy to yourself. We are often our own harshest critics, and it's easy to dismiss our own feelings or judge ourselves for being imperfect. But practicing empathy for ourselves is essential to our emotional well-being. When we acknowledge our own struggles, when we listen to our own feelings without judgment, we create a foundation for personal growth and healing. Only when we can empathize with ourselves can we truly empathize with others. The power of empathy is limitless. It bridges gaps between people. It fosters understanding, and it creates meaningful connections. It's a skill that can transform your relationships, your work, and your life. It's not something you can develop overnight, but with practice, patience, and a willingness to listen, you can become a master of empathy. The next time you interact with someone, whether it's a friend, family member, colleague, or even a stranger, take a moment to really listen, to understand, and to connect. When you do, you'll find that the world becomes a little kinder, a little more compassionate, and a lot more connected. Communication is the foundation of all human relationships. Whether with friends, family, colleagues, or even strangers, how we communicate shapes how we connect with others. However, communication is more than just exchanging words. It's about expressing yourself in a way that is both authentic and clear, allowing you to be understood, connect on a deeper level, and avoid misunderstandings. One of the biggest barriers to effective communication is a lack of authenticity. It's easy to hide behind a mask, to say what you think others want to hear, or to put on a facade to fit in. But when you do this, you're not being true to yourself, and you're not giving others a chance to truly get to know you. Authenticity in communication is about being real, honest, and open. It's about showing up as your true self, even if that means being vulnerable. Being authentic means speaking from the heart. It means expressing your thoughts and feelings in a way that aligns with your values and beliefs, not simply because it's expected or to avoid conflict. When you're authentic, people can sense it. They can feel the sincerity in your words. And that creates trust. When trust is built through authenticity, it lays the groundwork for stronger, more meaningful relationships. People will be drawn to you because they know they can count on you to be honest and true to who you are. But authenticity alone isn't enough. If you want to communicate effectively, your message needs to be clear. You can be as genuine as possible, But if your words aren't understandable or don't get your point across, communication breaks down. Clarity in communication is essential, but it's something many people struggle with. We often speak in circles, use jargon, or throw in unnecessary details, thinking it makes us sound smarter or more impressive. The truth is, simplicity and clarity are far more powerful than complexity. Clear communication requires you to focus on the essentials. It's about saying what you mean in a way that is straightforward and easy to follow. This doesn't mean you have to be overly simplistic, but it does mean you should avoid overcomplicating things. When your message is clear, people don't have to guess what you're trying to say. They don't have to spend extra time trying to decode your words. They get it immediately, and that leads to a more productive and efficient exchange of ideas. Authenticity and clarity go hand in hand. If you're not being clear, your authenticity can be lost in translation. If you're not authentic, your clarity can seem shallow or insincere. The two qualities work together to create a communication style that is not only effective but also meaningful. When you speak clearly and authentically, your words resonate with others, leaving a lasting impact. Let's take a moment to think about how we can be more authentic in our communication. First and foremost, it requires self-awareness. You need to know who you are, what you stand for, and what your values are. The more self-aware you are, the easier it becomes to speak from a place of authenticity. If you're unclear about your own thoughts and feelings, it's difficult to communicate them in a way that resonates with others. Spend time getting to know yourself, and you'll find that your communication becomes more natural and aligned with your true self. Another key to being authentic is embracing vulnerability. It's easy to hide behind our achievements, our personas, or the masks we wear to protect ourselves. But when we allow ourselves to be vulnerable, we create deeper connections with others. Vulnerability in communication doesn't mean oversharing or being emotionally exposed all the time. It simply means being willing to speak openly about what's on your mind and what matters to you. When you do this, you invite others to do the same, creating a space for honesty, trust, and meaningful connection. Clarity in communication often requires you to simplify your message. Think about the times when you struggled to understand someone because they were overcomplicating things. Maybe they used complex language or went off on tangents. The clearer you can be in your communication, the easier it will be for others to follow along. To do this, focus on the main point you want to communicate and avoid unnecessary details. Keep your message focused and intentional. When you speak with purpose, your words have power. Another important aspect of clarity is being mindful of your audience. Not everyone you communicate with has the same background, knowledge, or perspective as you do. When you communicate clearly, you take into account who your listener is and what they need to understand your message. For example, if you're talking to someone who doesn't know much about a particular subject, you'll want to adjust your language so it's more accessible. If you're speaking to someone who's more familiar with the topic, you can be more concise and detailed. Being mindful of your audience ensures that your message is received in the way you intend. The tone of your communication is another factor that plays into both authenticity and clarity. Your tone can convey emotions, intentions, and meanings that go beyond your words. When you speak with sincerity and care, your tone reflects that, and your message is more likely to resonate with others. On the other hand, a tone that is dismissive, condescending, or harsh can undermine your message, even if your words are clear. Pay attention to how you're saying something, not just what you're saying. A warm, respectful tone can make all the difference in how your message is received. One of the best ways to improve your communication is by practicing active listening. Communication isn't just about speaking. It's also about listening. Active listening means being fully engaged in what the other person is saying, without planning your response or interrupting. When you listen actively, you gain a better understanding of the other person's point of view, which helps you respond more clearly and authentically. Active listening also shows that you value the other person's thoughts and feelings, which fosters trust and respect in your relationship. Another technique to enhance your communication is asking clarifying questions. If you don't fully understand something, ask for clarification. When you're clear on what the other person means, you can respond in a more authentic and effective way. Don't be afraid to ask questions to ensure you're on the same page. Doing so shows that you care about understanding the other person and that you're committed to clear communication. Effective communication also involves being mindful of nonverbal cues. Body language, facial expressions, and gestures all contribute to the message you're sending. Sometimes, what we say doesn't align with how we say it. You might be speaking clearly, but if your body language isn't in sync, your message could be misinterpreted. Pay attention to your nonverbal signals and make sure they're consistent with your words. This helps to strengthen your authenticity and clarity. Lastly, remember that communication is a two-way street. It's not enough to just speak clearly and authentically. You also need to be open to feedback. Encourage others to share their thoughts and feelings, and be willing to listen to their perspective. Communication is about connection, and true connection happens when both sides are willing to be open, honest, and vulnerable. Improving your communication is an ongoing process. It's about being intentional, thoughtful, and committed to being the best communicator you can be. When you focus on being authentic and clear in your communication, you'll find that your relationships, your work, and your life become more meaningful and fulfilling. The power of words is incredible, but it's the way we use those words, authentically, clearly, and with intention, that truly makes an impact. When you think about the relationships in your life, whether personal, professional, or casual, the foundation of every meaningful connection is built on trust, respect, and transparency. These three elements are the bedrock of all strong relationships, and without them, connections can falter, misunderstandings arise, and communication becomes ineffective. Let's take a closer look at how you can build lasting connections through these powerful qualities, and how they influence not only how you relate to others, but also how they relate to you. Trust is a cornerstone of every relationship. Think about the people you trust the most in your life: your friends, family, colleagues, or mentors. What makes you trust them? It's likely their consistency, their reliability, and their ability to show up when they say they will. Trust isn't something that can be built overnight. It's earned over time through actions, not words. Trust is cultivated by being dependable and following through on promises. Every time you show up for someone, keep your word, and act with integrity, you reinforce trust in the relationship. But when trust is broken, it's incredibly difficult to rebuild. That's why it's so important to always act with honesty and transparency in every interaction, no matter how small. Building trust begins with being trustworthy yourself. You must live by the values that you espouse. If you say you value honesty, then you need to show it through your actions. It's not enough to just say the right things or promise people what they want to hear. You need to prove that you are someone who can be relied upon. Trust grows when you are consistent in your behavior and follow through with your commitments. People need to see that they can count on you, not just when it's convenient, but also when it's difficult. That's what makes trust so powerful. It's built on your ability to be there for others, even when things aren't easy. Respect, like trust, is a vital ingredient in any healthy relationship. Respect means valuing someone for who they are, acknowledging their thoughts, feelings, and boundaries without judgment. It's about treating others with dignity and showing appreciation for their unique experiences and perspectives. When you respect others, you create a safe environment where people feel heard, valued, and accepted. This not only strengthens a bond between you and others, but also fosters an atmosphere of mutual care and understanding. Respect isn't always about agreeing with someone. It's about recognizing their right to their own opinions, their own beliefs, and their own choices. You don't have to always agree with someone to respect them. In fact, some of the best relationships are built on mutual respect despite differences. Whether it's in a workplace setting or a personal relationship, respect creates a foundation of safety and trust where people feel comfortable sharing their true selves. When you show respect for someone else's boundaries, emotions, and thoughts, you demonstrate your ability to honor who they are as a person, not just as a role they play in your life. Another key component of building strong, lasting relationships is transparency. Transparency is about being open and honest without hidden agendas or ulterior motives. It's about letting others see the real you, the good, the bad, and everything in between. When you're transparent, you remove the layers of pretense and create a more authentic connection. You don't have to be perfect or have all the answers, but you do need to be honest about where you stand, what you feel, and what you're thinking. Transparency is powerful because it invites trust. When people feel that you're being genuine with them, They're more likely to open up and reciprocate that honesty. This doesn't mean you have to disclose everything about your life or overshare personal information, but it does mean you should strive for openness in your communication. People respect those who are honest and clear with them. They know where they stand, and that creates a feeling of security. Without transparency, it's easy for misunderstandings to take root and trust to erode. In relationships, whether they are professional or personal, conflicts will arise. But when trust, respect, and transparency are present, you can work through those conflicts with more grace and understanding. It's not about avoiding disagreements or trying to appease everyone, but it's about approaching conflicts with a mindset of collaboration and mutual respect. If you trust each other, you know that the goal isn't to win the argument, but to find a solution that works for both sides. If you respect each other, you know that the disagreement doesn't diminish the other person's value. And if you're transparent, you can speak your truth without fear of misinterpretation. In any relationship, actions speak louder than words. You can say you value trust, respect, and transparency, but those are only meaningful when they show up in your behavior. When you make the effort to understand and honor someone else's perspective, when you show empathy, and when you hold yourself accountable to your commitments, you demonstrate trust and respect in action. Your words will always be more powerful when they are backed by the way you live your life. Trust, respect, and transparency also allow you to create boundaries that help maintain a healthy dynamic in your relationships. Having boundaries doesn't mean you're being distant or unapproachable. It means you know what you need to maintain your well-being, and you communicate those needs clearly. When you respect someone else's boundaries and they respect yours, it leads to a relationship where both individuals can thrive without feeling overwhelmed, neglected, or taken advantage of. Boundaries prevent misunderstandings and foster a sense of safety, allowing people to express themselves freely without fear of crossing a line. One of the most important ways to build lasting connections is by leading with vulnerability. Vulnerability doesn't mean showing weakness, but it does mean being open and honest about your emotions, your struggles, and your desires. When you're vulnerable with others, you invite them to do the same. Vulnerability deepens trust and connection, and it creates an environment where people feel supported, not judged. It allows you to connect with others on a human level beyond the surface. But vulnerability is only effective when it's paired with the other two elements, respect and transparency. If you're vulnerable but not respected or treated with honesty, your vulnerability can be taken advantage of or misunderstood. On the other hand, when respect, trust, and transparency are present, vulnerability becomes a powerful tool that strengthens relationships and encourages others to open up as well. Vulnerability invites growth in both individuals, allowing both parties to feel safe to explore their deepest thoughts and feelings. Building lasting connections is a lifelong journey. Trust, respect, and transparency aren't things you achieve once and forget about. They're qualities that require constant nurturing, attention, and effort. Every time you show up for someone, every time you listen deeply, every time you communicate openly, you strengthen the foundation of that relationship. And as you continue to build these connections, you'll find that your life is richer, more meaningful, and filled with deeper, more authentic relationships. Remember, the relationships that matter most in life are built on trust, respect, and transparency. These qualities create a space where people can be their true selves, where communication flows freely, and where conflict is resolved with mutual understanding. By showing up as your authentic self, respecting others, and being transparent in your communication, you create relationships that are not only long-lasting, but also deeply fulfilling. True leadership is not about having authority over others or wielding power. It's about inspiring and empowering those around you to reach their highest potential. At the heart of effective leadership is emotional intelligence, the ability to understand and manage your own emotions, as well as recognize and influence the emotions of others. When you lead with emotional intelligence, you create an environment where people feel supported, valued, and motivated to excel. This isn't just about being a good leader. It's about being an empowering leader who fosters growth, collaboration, and success. Emotional intelligence in leadership starts with self-awareness. You can't effectively lead others if you don't understand yourself first. Self-awareness is the ability to recognize and understand your own emotions as they arise. It's about knowing what triggers your emotions, how they impact your decisions and actions, and how to use that awareness to adjust your behavior in a way that serves you and those around you. When you're self-aware, you are in control of your emotional responses, which allows you to lead with clarity, composure, and confidence. The more self-aware you are, the more effectively you can manage your emotions, especially in high-pressure situations. Leaders are often faced with challenges, conflicts, and moments that test their resolve. How you handle these moments, how you manage your stress, frustration, or even excitement can significantly impact the team dynamic. A leader who stays calm under pressure, who doesn't let their emotions dictate their actions, sets an example for others to follow. They teach those around them that emotions can be acknowledged and managed, not ignored or allowed to take control. Alongside self-awareness is the ability to regulate your emotions. Emotional regulation is the ability to stay balanced and composed, even when emotions are running high. It's about pausing before reacting, taking a moment to reflect on your emotional state, and choosing how to respond in a thoughtful and constructive manner. As a leader, when you regulate your emotions effectively, you prevent yourself from reacting impulsively or getting swept up in negativity. Instead of responding to situations with anger, frustration, or anxiety, you can approach them with logic, understanding, and calm. This creates a positive environment where people feel safe to express themselves and contribute their best work. However, emotional intelligence in leadership is not just about managing your own emotions. It's also about understanding and responding to the emotions of others. Empathy, one of the core components of emotional intelligence, plays a critical role in this. Empathy is the ability to recognize, understand, and share the feelings of another person. It's about putting yourself in someone else's shoes and seeing the world from their perspective. Leaders who demonstrate empathy build trust and rapport with their team members because people can sense when their leader genuinely cares about their well-being and success. Empathetic leadership is about listening actively to your team, understanding their concerns, and supporting them in their challenges. When you lead with empathy, you create an environment where people feel heard and valued. You show that their thoughts and feelings matter and that their struggles are acknowledged. This builds a strong sense of loyalty and respect, and it motivates people to work harder because they feel connected to you as a leader. They know that you're not just interested in the results, but in their growth and success as well. But emotional intelligence isn't just about being sensitive to others' feelings. It's also about motivating and inspiring them to excel. Great leaders empower others by tapping into their intrinsic motivation, helping them see the value and purpose in their work. When you lead with emotional intelligence, you don't just tell people what to do or impose your vision on them. Instead, you inspire them to take ownership of their roles, to take pride in their work, and to strive for excellence because they are personally invested in the mission. Motivating others requires understanding what drives them. Every individual has different values, goals, and sources of inspiration. As a leader, it's your job to recognize these unique motivations and tap into them. Some people are driven by personal growth, while others are motivated by a sense of teamwork or a desire to make an impact. When you align people's personal motivations with the goals of the organization or team, you create an atmosphere where everyone is working toward a common purpose with passion and enthusiasm. An emotionally intelligent leader also understands the importance of providing constructive feedback. Feedback is essential for growth, but it must be delivered in a way that is respectful, supportive, and focused on improvement. When giving feedback, an emotionally intelligent leader doesn't focus solely on what went wrong, but also on how things can be improved moving forward. They provide clear guidance on what needs to be done differently, while also acknowledging the effort and progress made. This approach not only helps the individual grow, but also reinforces a culture of learning and continuous improvement within the team. Furthermore, emotional intelligence in leadership involves creating a sense of psychological safety. People perform at their best when they feel safe to take risks, make mistakes, and learn from them without fear of judgment or retribution. A leader who fosters psychological safety encourages open communication, innovation, and creative problem solving. They show that it's okay to fail, and that failure is simply a step in the process of growth. This kind of environment empowers people to contribute their best ideas, try new things, and push the boundaries of what they thought was possible. Leadership with emotional intelligence also means being adaptable. In today's world, change is constant, and leaders must be able to adjust to new challenges, environments, and people. Flexibility is key to managing change effectively. Leaders who are emotionally intelligent don't just react to change, they embrace it, navigate with grace, and help their teams do the same. They recognize that change can be uncomfortable, but they provide the guidance, support, and encouragement needed to help people through it. By modeling adaptability, you encourage others to approach change with a positive and proactive mindset, rather than resistance or fear. It's also important to remember that emotional intelligence in leadership is not about being perfect. Leaders are human, and they will make mistakes. What sets emotionally intelligent leaders apart is their ability to acknowledge their mistakes, learn from them, and grow. They don't let their egos get in the way of personal growth or the growth of others. Instead, they show humility, take responsibility for their actions, and encourage their teams to do the same. Leading with emotional intelligence isn't just about improving your own leadership abilities. It's about creating an environment where others feel empowered to lead as well. When you lead with emotional intelligence, you inspire those around you to do the same. You create a ripple effect that encourages collaboration, trust, and excellence. People feel motivated not only because they want to perform well for you as a leader, but also because they want to perform well for themselves and for the team. You're not just building a group of followers. You're building a community of leaders who are all committed to the same goal. To lead with emotional intelligence and empower others to excel, you must first invest in your own emotional growth. You can't give to others what you don't possess yourself. Practice self-awareness, emotional regulation, empathy, and adaptability. The more emotionally intelligent you become, the better equipped you'll be to lead and inspire others. When you lead with emotional intelligence, you don't just achieve results. You create a culture of excellence, collaboration, and growth that benefits everyone involved. Life moves at a rapid pace, and it's easy to get caught up in the whirlwind of daily distractions. Our minds are constantly being pulled in multiple directions, thinking about the past, worrying about the future, and dealing with the pressure of everything that needs to be done. In this kind of environment, it can be challenging to stay focused, to be fully present in the moment, and to make wise decisions. But the truth is, the ability to be present and make thoughtful, intentional decisions is one of the most powerful skills you can develop. It's the difference between reacting to life's challenges and responding with clarity and purpose. The first step to training your mind to be present is to understand that being present is a skill that can be cultivated. It's not something that just happens on its own. It takes practice. We live in a world full of distractions, and our attention is constantly being pulled away from the present moment. Whether it's checking our phones, thinking about our to-do list, or worrying about what others think, our minds are often scattered. But being present means focusing your attention on what's happening right now, without letting past regrets or future anxieties cloud your judgment. One of the most effective ways to train your mind to be present is through mindfulness. Mindfulness is a practice of paying full attention to the present moment without judgment. It involves observing your thoughts, emotions, and surroundings without becoming overwhelmed by them. When you practice mindfulness, you train your mind to focus on what is happening in the moment, rather than getting lost in the past or the future. This allows you to engage with life more fully, to experience things as they are, and to respond more thoughtfully to the challenges that come your way. Mindfulness can be practiced in many ways. One of the simplest ways is through deep breathing. When you focus on your breath, you bring your attention back to the present moment. Inhaling and exhaling slowly and deliberately helps ground you, creating a sense of calm and focus. Even just a few minutes of mindful breathing each day can help train your mind to stay present and reduce the noise that often fills your head. As you practice mindfulness, you'll find that you're able to be more aware of your thoughts and emotions and more able to choose how you respond to them. Another way to train your mind to be present is to eliminate distractions. In today's world, distractions are everywhere. We're constantly bombarded by notifications, emails, and social media updates. These distractions take us away from the present moment and pull our attention in different directions. To be more present, you need to consciously eliminate or minimize these distractions. Turn off notifications when you need to focus. Set aside specific times to check your email or social media accounts. Create a dedicated space for work or relaxation where you can fully engage without interruptions. When you remove distractions, you create the mental space needed to be fully present. Training your mind to be present also involves letting go of the need to control everything. A lot of the time, our minds are occupied with worries about the future, about what might go wrong, or about what we can't control. This kind of thinking pulls us out of the present moment and keeps us stuck in fear or anxiety. But when you let go of the need to control everything, you create room for peace and clarity. You allow yourself to trust the process, knowing that not everything is within your control. Instead of worrying about what could happen, focus on what you can do right now to move forward. When you free yourself from a need to control, you'll find it easier to stay present and make decisions from a place of calm and clarity. As you train your mind to be more present, you'll also develop a greater sense of awareness about your surroundings and your relationships. When you're fully present, you're able to listen more attentively to others, to notice the subtleties in conversations, and to respond in ways that are thoughtful and intentional. You're no longer just going through the motions. You're engaging with life on a deeper level. This level of awareness also makes it easier to make wise decisions. When you're present, you're more in tune with your values, your goals, and your intuition. You're able to make decisions that align with who you are and what you truly want, rather than making reactive decisions based on stress or external pressure. Making wise decisions requires the ability to think clearly and calmly, and being present is essential to that. When we're distracted or overwhelmed, it's easy to make decisions based on fear, impulse, or emotion. But when we take the time to slow down, to be present, and to assess a situation from a place of clarity, we're able to make decisions that are well considered and align with our long-term goals. Wise decisions are not always the easiest ones, but they're the ones that come from a place of awareness and intentionality. They are decisions that take into account the bigger picture, not just the immediate circumstances. Being present also means acknowledging and processing your emotions. When you're emotionally aware, you're able to recognize how your feelings are influencing your decisions. If you're angry, stressed, or frustrated, these emotions can cloud your judgment and lead you to make impulsive choices. But when you are present with your emotions, you can step back and ask yourself, how am I really feeling and why? This allows you to pause and make a decision from a place of calm and understanding, rather than reacting to the emotion itself. The more you practice being present with your emotions, the better you'll be at responding to them in a constructive way. Training your mind to be present also involves creating a routine or structure that supports mindfulness and focus. When you make mindfulness a daily practice, it becomes easier to be present in all areas of your life. Set aside time each day for meditation, mindful breathing, or simply being still. Whether it's a few minutes in the morning or a quiet moment before bed, these moments of mindfulness help strengthen your ability to stay focused throughout the day. As you build this routine, you'll find that your mind becomes clearer, more focused, and better equipped to handle the challenges that come your way. Making wise decisions requires an understanding of both the situation and yourself. When you're present, you can assess situations with greater accuracy, without being influenced by outside distractions or internal noise. You'll be able to consider all the factors, weigh your options, and trust yourself to make the best decision for the circumstances. Over time, this practice will enhance your decision-making skills, helping you to consistently make choices that support your long-term growth and success. Being present is also about accepting what is. Sometimes, we get so caught up in what we want or what we think should happen that we lose sight of what's happening right now. Being present means accepting things as they are, without judgment or resistance. This doesn't mean you give up on your goals or stop striving for improvement. It means that you recognize the value in the present moment, and that you understand that every moment is an opportunity to learn, grow, and make decisions with intention. When you train your mind to be present, you not only improve your decision-making, but also your overall quality of life. You become more engaged with the world around you, more connected to your relationships, and more aligned with your own goals and values. By staying present, you create the mental space needed to make wise decisions, to respond thoughtfully, and to live with purpose. Growth is not a destination. It's a journey. It's something that happens over time, and it requires intentional effort, focus, and a commitment to progress. But here's the thing, growth doesn't just happen by accident. It's easy to get caught up in the hustle of everyday life, always moving forward, always looking ahead to the next goal, the next task, the next achievement. However, without taking the time to reflect on where you've been and how far you've come, you risk missing out on one of the most important tools for personal development, self-reflection. Reflecting regularly on your progress is one of the most powerful ways to fuel continuous growth. When you pause to look back on your journey, you gain valuable insights into what's working, what's not, and where you can improve. Reflection is like hitting the pause button in a world that's constantly moving forward. It allows you to assess your actions, understand your motivations, and adjust your course as needed. Without reflection, you're simply going through the motions without fully understanding the impact of your efforts. When you reflect, you give yourself the opportunity to celebrate your successes, no matter how small. We often get so caught up in the next thing that we forget to acknowledge how far we've come. Taking time to reflect on your progress reminds you the wins you've had, the lessons you've learned, and the growth you've experienced. It's easy to forget these achievements when you're focused on the challenges ahead, but regular reflection helps you stay grounded and grateful for what you've accomplished. Reflection also helps you gain clarity. Sometimes, in the midst of pursuing your goals, it can be hard to see the bigger picture. You may feel like you're stuck, like you're not making progress, or that you're not where you want to be. But when you take a step back and reflect, you might realize that you've already come much further than you think. Reflection allows you to zoom out and see the growth you've made, even when it feels like you're still far from your destination. It helps you put your efforts into perspective and reaffirms that the work you're doing is moving you in the right direction. As you reflect on your progress, you also uncover areas that need improvement. Growth requires honesty with yourself. You can't improve if you don't acknowledge where you've fallen short or where you can do better. Reflection gives you the space to be objective and critical of your actions without judgment. It's not about beating yourself up for mistakes or shortcomings, but about understanding what went wrong, learning from it, and taking steps to do better next time. Self-reflection is not about perfection. It's about progress. It's about seeing where you are, understanding where you want to go, and making adjustments along the way to get there. A powerful way to reflect is to ask yourself specific questions that guide your thinking. Instead of simply wondering, how am I doing? You can ask questions like, what went well this week? What challenges did I face? And how did I handle them? What did I learn from this experience? What could I do differently next time? These questions help you dig deeper into your experiences and draw out valuable insights. The answers to these questions don't just inform your next steps. They shape your mindset. When you approach reflection with curiosity and a willingness to learn, you open the door to growth that is intentional, sustainable, and long-lasting. Another aspect of reflection is looking at your habits and routines. Are they serving you? Are they moving you toward your goals? Habits are the building blocks of success, but not all habits are created equal. Reflecting on your daily routines allows you to evaluate whether your habits align with your values and goals. If they don't, it's an opportunity to make changes. For example, if you're trying to become healthier but find that your habits aren't supporting that goal, perhaps you're eating poorly or not exercising, reflection gives you the chance to reassess and make a conscious decision to change. Small, consistent changes can have a massive impact over time, but it's important to take the time to reflect on what's working and what's not. Reflecting regularly also allows you to stay aligned with your bigger vision. It's easy to get distracted by the small day-to-day tasks and lose sight of your long-term goals. Reflection brings you back to the bigger picture and helps you stay connected to your why. When you look at your progress through the lens of your larger vision, it helps you prioritize what really matters. You can see how the actions you take today are contributing to the bigger picture, and if you find that you're off track, reflection gives you the clarity to course correct and realign yourself with your true purpose. In addition to all the practical benefits of reflection, it's also a tool for building resilience. Life is full of setbacks, obstacles, and challenges. When things don't go as planned, it's easy to feel discouraged. But when you regularly reflect on your journey, you gain the strength to bounce back. Reflection allows you to see that setbacks are part of the process, not the end of the road. You've faced challenges before and you've overcome them. Looking back at your past successes can remind you of your resilience and reinforce the belief that you can handle whatever comes your way. One of the best times to reflect is at the end of the day, week, or month. These moments provide natural breaks in your routine and give you the space to assess how things went. At the end of each day, you can ask yourself what went well, what didn't, and what you can learn from the day's experiences. At the end of the week or month, you can look at the bigger picture and evaluate how you're progressing toward your goals. This regular reflection keeps you on track and ensures that you're always moving forward with purpose and intention. But reflection doesn't just have to be about assessing yourself. It can also be about seeking feedback from others. Sometimes our blind spots can prevent us from seeing where we need to improve. Getting feedback from those around you, whether it's a mentor, a colleague, a friend, or a family member, can offer valuable perspectives on how you're doing. Asking for feedback shows humility and a willingness to learn from others. It can also provide insight into areas that you might not have considered. When you combine self-reflection with external feedback, you get a more complete picture of your progress and areas for growth. The key to fueling continuous growth through reflection is consistency. It's not enough to reflect once and expect things to change. Growth is a continuous process, and the more often you reflect, the more opportunities you'll have to learn, adjust, and improve. Set aside time regularly, whether it's daily, weekly, or monthly, to pause, reflect, and evaluate your progress. Make reflection a habit, and you'll find that your growth becomes more intentional, sustainable, and fulfilling. In conclusion, regular reflection is an essential tool for continuous growth. It allows you to acknowledge your progress, identify areas for improvement, and stay connected to your bigger vision. Reflection gives you the clarity, resilience, and motivation needed to keep moving forward. By making reflection a regular practice, you ensure that you're always learning, growing, and evolving. Growth is not something that happens by accident. It's something you cultivate with intention, and reflection is the key to unlocking that potential. Keep reflecting, keep growing, and keep becoming the best version of yourself. Personal development is a journey, not a destination. It's something that requires dedication, discipline, and consistency. There's no one-size-fits-all formula for success, but the key to achieving lasting change is to take consistent action toward growth. Too often, people get caught up in the excitement of setting new goals or making plans, but they neglect the most important part: staying focused and taking the necessary steps to turn their intentions into reality. The difference between success and stagnation lies in your ability to take consistent action every day, no matter how small the steps may seem. The first step to taking consistent action toward personal development is deciding what you truly want. Clarity is essential. When you know exactly what you want to achieve, whether it's improving your health, developing a new skill, or growing your career, it becomes much easier to set clear, actionable goals. Without a clear vision of what you're striving for, it's easy to get distracted or lose sight of your purpose. Take the time to define your goals and write them down. Be specific. Instead of saying, "I want to be healthy," or say, "I will exercise 3 times a week and eat a balanced diet every day." This clarity helps you stay focused and allows you to break down big goals into manageable, actionable steps. Once you have a clear vision of what you want, the next step is to break that vision down into daily habits. Personal development doesn't happen in a day. It happens one small action at a time. The key to sustainable progress is consistency. It's not about doing everything all at once or making huge leaps overnight. It's about showing up every day, doing the work, and trusting that small, consistent efforts will add up over time. This is where discipline plays a crucial role. Motivation may come and go, but discipline is what keeps you on track when motivation fades. When you take consistent action, you begin to build momentum. Momentum is one of the most powerful forces in personal development. It's what keeps you going when things get tough, and what drives you to push through challenges. The more consistent action you take, the easier it becomes to stay focused and committed to your goals. Small victories along the way will motivate you to keep going, even when you don't feel like it. As you continue to make progress, you'll find that your confidence grows and your belief in your ability to succeed strengthens. But building momentum doesn't mean you won't encounter setbacks along the way. The path to personal development is rarely linear. There will be days when you don't feel like working on your goals, or when obstacles arise that make it harder to stay focused. The key is not to let those setbacks derail you. Instead of giving up when things get tough, use setbacks as opportunities to learn and grow. Understand that challenges are a natural part of the process, and that overcoming them is what will ultimately make you stronger. Another important aspect of taking consistent action is tracking your progress. When you're working toward a big goal, it can sometimes feel like you're not making any headway, especially if the goal seems far off. Tracking your progress helps you see how far you've come and keeps you motivated. Keep a journal, a planner, or use an app to track your daily actions and review your achievements regularly. This not only keeps you accountable, but also gives you a sense of accomplishment as you look back on the progress you've made. Staying focused is another key component of taking consistent action. It's easy to get distracted by all the things vying for your attention: social media, unexpected events, other people's opinions. But focus is what will help you stay on track. One of the best ways to maintain focus is to create a routine that supports your goals. When you have a set routine, it becomes easier to stay consistent because the actions you need to take are already built into your day. Whether it's waking up early to work on your goals, setting aside time in the evening for self-reflection, or scheduling regular check-ins with yourself to track your progress, a routine creates structure and helps you stay on course. Along with consistency, it's important to be flexible. While routines and habits are essential for growth, life is unpredictable. You may face circumstances that require you to adjust your plans. Being adaptable is just as important as being consistent. If something isn't working, don't be afraid to reassess and make changes. The most successful people aren't necessarily the ones who never make mistakes, but the ones who learn from them and adapt quickly. Flexibility allows you to stay focused on your larger vision while being willing to pivot when necessary. A crucial part of personal development is maintaining a growth mindset. A growth mindset is a belief that your abilities and intelligence can be developed with effort and perseverance. When you approach challenges with a growth mindset, you view setbacks as learning experiences and believe that improvement is always possible. This mindset is essential for taking consistent action because it allows you to stay motivated even when things get difficult. It helps you see failure as a stepping stone to success rather than an obstacle that will stop you in your tracks. One of the most powerful things you can do to stay consistent in your personal development is to surround yourself with positive influences. The people you spend time with can have a significant impact on your motivation and focus. Seek out individuals who encourage you, challenge you, and hold you accountable. Whether it's a mentor, a coach, a friend, or a community, having the support of others makes it easier to stay committed to your goals. They can provide encouragement when you feel discouraged, offer advice when you face challenges, and celebrate your successes with you along the way. While taking consistent action is essential for progress, it's equally important to make time for rest and recovery. Overworking yourself can lead to burnout, which will ultimately derail your progress. Personal development is not just about pushing yourself to the limit. It's about finding balance. Make sure to take breaks, prioritize self-care, and give yourself the rest you need to recharge. Rest is just as important as hard work because it allows you to stay focused and energized in the long run. To stay focused, it's also helpful to remind yourself of your why. Why did you set these goals in the first place? What motivates you to keep going? When you have a strong sense of purpose behind your actions, it becomes easier to stay on track. Revisit your reasons for wanting to grow and improve regularly, especially when you're feeling stuck or discouraged. Your why will reignite your passion and remind you of the bigger picture. Finally, understand that progress takes time. Personal development is not a quick fix or a one-time effort. It's a lifelong commitment. The key to sustained growth is not just about achieving the end goal. It's about developing habits and mindsets that keep you moving forward, no matter where you are on your journey. Keep taking action, stay focused, and trust that your consistent efforts will pay off in the long run. In conclusion, taking consistent action toward personal development is a key to making lasting changes in your life. It's about breaking down big goals into small, manageable steps, building momentum, tracking your progress, and staying focused on the bigger picture. Personal development is a marathon, not a sprint, and it requires patience, discipline, and a commitment to keep going, even when things get tough. By staying consistent, you will continue to grow, evolve, and achieve the success you're striving for. Keep moving forward, one step at a time.